Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight we're talking about investments. We're talking about your pension. Is your hard work paying off? Is it still going to be there in the end? Well, there's answers to your question. Yes, and could be no, but what should you do? Buy assets, not liabilities, on your way to retirement. Now, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share the videos. Make sure you let other people know what we're doing here because we're trying to help you and everybody else, as many people as possible, because we don't want the rich to continue to just be the only ones getting rich. We want you to get rich as well. And I have an announcement to make. So far, I'm trying to line up. You guys might have seen this guy on late night TV, infomercials back in the day when you're trying to get government grants, and he'd be sitting there with that Joker outfit, question marks, Lesko. The guy's last name is Lesko. And he gave out federal government state grants, or not gave out himself, but would tell you about those grants. I'm trying to get him on Monday night live stream, the Money Making Monday live stream at 8:50 p.m. So make sure you register for that live stream. I have it up already. So hopefully he will be able to make it, and we will talk about grants, state, federal. And within state and federal, there's so many different grants that people don't even know what grants are available and how easy it is to qualify. I know it's going to be exciting. Juanesco, Joel Nolasco, I see you at Instagram. Everybody, go over to Instagram. They put us back up at 920 followers. Once again, we got an extra one, so I want to thank everybody. And I see you there, the Moni Miles. I see you also on Instagram. Let's see who else is going to be in the house before we get started tonight. I see Byzantine Red. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And again, give a one piece to the like button. Everybody that's here, so the YouTube gods know that we're in the house. Now, let's me start off with something that is quite disturbing. We have people out here who are working a nice job. And I'll use a perfect example as to what's happening right now. Boeing. Perfectly good, well-paying jobs at Boeing, but their union. The union goes on strike. Now, remember, union contracts are could be 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Generally, I don't think they go past that. It could be 15 too, but generally, you don't want to go 15, 20 years because pay increases need to happen over a 5-year to 10-year span in itself. So anyhow, Boeing is on strike, right? They have a labor dispute right now. Well, about 10 years ago to 15 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark, I can't really remember the dates, these guys went on strike back then. When they went on strike back then, they agreed to not have their pension, and it would be given back on the next agreement. All this time, Boeing did not volunteer to give back the pension. And right now that they're on strike, Boeing is not going to probably give them back the pension. In case people don't know what I'm talking about, here's what a pension basically is. You work at a job X amount of years, let's just say 20 years. And then when you get to be 60 plus, you will start having an automatic payment coming. Not Social Security, pension. So that means you could be $3,000, it could be $4,000, it could be $5,000, it could be $6,000. But that's the whole point. So how do you pay for the pension later on? Well, traditionally in the booming industrial age after the World War II, it was easy. You had all these jobs. You had people who could work there a generation or two. So the next generation that works after you would be paying your pensions. That's what it was supposed to do. You're paying into your pension as well. So what ends up happening? They could have hundreds of millions of dollars in the pension, but the company may not be ran as well as 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And they have less employees. So now the Ponzi scheme takes effect because now you have less workers putting into the pension fund and people live an indefinite amount of time. Some of the pensioners will die before they receive their pension. Other pensioners will outlive everybody, live an extra 40 years to 100. Others will live somewhere between 80 and 90. That's 20 to 25 to 30 years after retirement, you're still receiving a check. The same rule as our Social Security. It's in a Ponzi scheme as well. As you have less workers, less money can go into the Social Security fund. So what are we going to do about it? Well, it's not what we're going to do about it. It's what you have to do about it. Because most people think I'll be fine because their company, corporations, everything is working fine right now, years, but you don't know what's going to happen 20 years from now, 15 years from now. So this is why the Stop Struggling Now Nation, otherwise known as SSN Nation, this is why we talk about empowering you to make sure you buy assets and understand the landscape. This is why the topics vary here, because there's way too many things that can happen. Not everybody is an entrepreneur. Not everybody works 9 to 5. So therefore, you have to start thinking, what if my pension doesn't pay me? What if Social Security doesn't pay you? What if you have no extra money other than what you invested in, which could be a real thing after this next bull run that should occur sometime in the next T-minus 6 months to 3 years. All right, that's my estimation. We'll see. There's some Goldman Sachs had said on, when was it? Was it Friday of last week or was it Monday? Either way, in the last week, Goldman Sachs gave a startling announcement saying that there could be a depression type situation in the United States and the stock market could be at 2 or 3% for a decade. That is scary. So if you can't make money on the stock market and housing prices start coming down because people can't afford it, now what? Where are you going to get the money from? That means you might have to consider some other alternatives, stacking money, putting it away. And yes, you can still buy stocks, you can still buy real estate, but you have to start thinking, is my investments going to be safe for the next 25 to 30 years? That's the question, right? So we're talking about pensions first, though. And make sure you smash the like button no matter where you are. Make sure you smash King J7118. I see you on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit the follow button. And by the way, I'm keeping track. Tonight, we're doing live stream on Instagram, so I can't see how many followers we have. So what I'm going to do is, we're going to do some other things here, right? We are going to make you hopefully go down below in the description box at the bottom and sign up for all of our social media platforms. Just saying. That would be helpful. But Instagram, I'm doing my experiment because every time we get to 920, it drops back down and we lose 5 to 6 followers, courtesy of Instagram. We can never seem to go 920 and up. They always remove people, just like on Wednesday night. It dropped back down to 919. So today we were at 920, and I don't know what it is right now. So that would be helpful. Let's get into some other things here, shall we? Because I want to get into this pension situation so people can see what's going on, so you guys can understand while you're out here working at your job, this happens. This is like the best kept secret on the planet, even though it is out here in the news, so to speak. Who goes to the U.S. Department of Labor website? I mean, let's get honest, shall we? Look at this. U.S. Department of Labor obtains emergency court order to protect retirement plan assets. Alleges Pittsburgh company owner embezzled over $5.5 million from plans. You see this right here? Who would go here to find out? Here's the company. Defendants, River Edge Advanced Retirement Solutions, LLC, a Pennsylvania company. And it's Paul Pagulta, an individual. River's Edge is a third-party administrator of at least 240 retirement plans that holds millions of dollars in plan assets and acts as an agent to manage and administer plan assets. At least 229 of these retirement plans are covered by the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. So anyhow, they're claiming he took $5.5 million in retirement plan assets from 17 retirement plans by transferring them from retirement plan trusts into their own corporate accounts, siphoning off money. The way of a third world country, the way of America, right? The way of the mob. I'm just saying, this seems to be an epidemic. America is finally showing its true colors in all aspects of life. It's disturbing, to say the least. I go to the bank. The bank says, I'm sorry, Eric, you can't take out 30, 40 G's. What do you mean? Come back in a few days. Oh, I'm sorry, Eric. We can't cash this check for 50 G's. What do you mean? Oh, we got to check and make sure this is written to you. This could take 2 or 3 weeks. What are you talking about right now? This is what I'm saying. When people start acting funny with money, you have to start thinking about protection plans. And that's what we're talking about here. But I want you guys to see some of you who are working and have pension funds, and some of you who have bank accounts, and some of you who have any other type of brokerage accounts. All of these are claimed to be backed by insurance. All right. Just keep that in mind. When you try to collect that insurance, what happens? All right. So that's just the first one for starters. I have more. And by the way, again, I want to point out something. Again, on Monday, we're going to have Matthew Lesko. He has said he's going to come on Monday night at 8:50 p.m. If you want to find the federal and state grants, he's going to tell you how to get them. Yeah, I know he charges a little $5, $10, whatever, trying to help people. If you want his help, $20, but he's going to be here on the live stream answering questions. You know how it is here in the SSN Nation. This isn't a one-way. If you want to be in the chat room, you better be here, because you know federal and state grants, they don't cost you anything other than your time to fill out some paperwork. And what if that paperwork only took 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? A lot of people can use some government funding help, right? It's out here, and he's going to be here. So don't miss it. You can sign up and register right now. It's active on YouTube and everywhere else that you can find DSSN Nation, so you can make sure you don't miss it at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, let's get to another situation out here. Look at this. I just had to bring this up. This is from 2010. All right? Just keep this in mind. See how people it's 14 years ago. All right? The 10 biggest failed pension plans. Look at this. Look at this is crazy. Look at this. United Airlines. Average claim per person. These are claims. This is crazy. Delphi, another corporation. Bethlehem Steel, bye-bye. U.S. Airways, bye-bye. LTV Steel, Delta Airlines, National Steel. Look at this. All world-renowned companies, money gone. And the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corp spits out this little bit of cash right here, the equivalent of less than 30, 40 G's in certain cases, 123 G in case of Delta Airlines. But look at this. Far cry from $2,000, $3,000, $1,500 per month that you were supposed to receive for the next 20 to 30 to 40 years. So I'm showing you this so you can understand this is serious. Look at this. PBGC paid nearly $4.5 billion worth of ongoing payments to approximately 750,000 retirees. Lump sum payments to 12,000 pension participants in 2009. Another 565,000 individuals are eligible for future PBGC. When you really think about what has happened in America. Now, this is 10 years ago, right? Okay. You guys saw it. You see it 14 years ago. All right. So it's dire then, it's dire now. And then look at this. So here's the theory. People always say, this baffles my mind. People always say, oh, he's a billionaire. He's a millionaire. He won't rip anybody off because he has no incentive. Really? Okay. Keep thinking that way. Look at this. A U.S. billionaire took over a tropical island pension fund. Then hundreds of millions of dollars allegedly went missing. With the help from PwC Cyprus, Hushang Ansari set up a shell companies and oversaw a series of transactions that authorities say drained the Curacao fund holding pensions for 30,000 people. I know. November 20th, 2023, this is written, but they're talking about 2006. Iranian statesman who immigrated from Texas to make a fortune in the U.S. oil business strode into the Curacao headquarters of INEA, a private pension fund in the island's nation's largest insurance company. He had just purchased the business, and employees lined the walls and clapped loudly to welcome their illustrious boss, the billionaire. With a big smile, Ansari clapped too, bowed, and showed a respect for the old hands at his new enterprise. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. But 30,000 people getting screwed over. Hundreds of millions of dollars is gone. And like with most white-collar scandals, behind the high-profile names in the INEA's controversy of the accountants, often at global firms who inspect companies' books, create transactions of such complexity, it can take years for investigators to untangle them. Oh, here's KPMG. Audited key parts of the INEA's business during Ansari's reign, signing off on financial statements during its now controversial years. KPMG, back in the day, was the one of the top accounting firms. So if they signed off, and if Price Waterhouse Cooper signed off, what more do you need? So there you go. In 2018, Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin, which also serves as a regulator of financial businesses on the two islands, declared the INEA was going broke and seized control of the insurer from Ansari. You see how this works, ladies and gentlemen? Now, imagine 30,000 people working, and they've been there since they're 18, 19, 20, 25. And here it is 25, 30 years later, and you find out where's the money that you thought you were going to be able to retire, and you're now 45 to 55 years old. Is that crazy? Okay, so just think about that. They go into the Ansari, right? This is crazy. All right, this is him here. Big wigs hanging out with government officials, and he still rips people off. So this is what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen. You have to make sure that you have some other money at your disposal. Vince Lamone, I see you. Thank you so much for being on the Instagram network. Hit that follow button over there. So I just wanted to point all of this out because you have to understand nothing is safe. Your money in a bank, your money in a brokerage account, your pension money, Social Security money, none of it is safe. You need somebody, government officials, that want to protect you. Now, where are you going to find those at? High. You got to look high and low. But I will say, we have a situation with our government now that could move one way or another. The rule of law in America has always been what has distinguished America from pretty much the rest of the world. The erosion of our institutions means that we're no better than a third world country. So when you start having all of these things happening over the last 40 years, where things are, I put my money in a bank, don't know if I can get it out. I go to a job, going to have a pension, don't know money, I can get it out. I have a 401k with the company, I don't know if I can get it out. This is where we're at right now. This is not something that's going to happen 10, 20, 30 years from now. You're in the mix right now. Are you going to have Social Security 20, 30 years from now? You're in the mix right now. Who's there protecting to make sure that Social Security is going to be provided from the FDR New Deal? So therefore, I can only suggest real estate, brokerage accounts are amongst the safest because that's where some funds are. And if brokerage accounts start getting raided, the stock market goes bye-bye pretty much, right? Because you're not going to have all of these entities going, we're going to be buying bonds, we're going to be buying stocks, and we're going to be putting in brokerage accounts. They're going to be like, I'm sorry. Let me take that money somewhere else. In fact, let me take it overseas. Let me go to the EU zone or something if you guys want to play like this, right? So this is why buying assets that pay you is necessary right now. I'll be dropping a video tomorrow about at least, in fact, I'll show you a few right now, but dividend stocks are going to be very, very important because if Goldman Sachs is correct about their 3% growth annually versus this 20, 30, 40, 50, almost double every 4 or 5 year stock market situation, they're claiming the run is over. If that happens, you're going to wish you had 10, 12, 15, 20% dividend returns coming in and they're reinvesting for you. So just letting you know, this is what we're talking about. Okay. And I miss this dude. Let's stop the struggle. Let's stop the struggling now. I hear you. Brian P. Mr. Dividend is in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream with that icon next to your name, which I greatly appreciate. And he says, hello, Eric. I hope all is well with you. It is. Hello, SSN family. Smash that like button. I got the notification. That is great. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you so much. We are making money in here. That's right. Dividend investing, real estate investing, and even bonds if you want that 3 to 4 to 5%, but that's kind of small. But make sure you get your free stocks from Robinhood and or Webull. In fact, both. Make sure you use the links down below if you haven't downloaded them before. The apps, they're in the description box down below. Also, I should point out, we got paid today, MSTY, exactly. And you know what? I didn't see anything from YMAG or YMAX, but again, I don't even check. There's no reason. It's coming in like clockwork. These are some dividend stocks, ladies and gentlemen. He just gave a very nice one, MSTY. That's MicroStrategy. They are known, Michael Saylor's known to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin has gone up about 25 to 35% annually. So therefore, their value keeps creeping up. And so therefore, these covered calls from options and puts and things like that help fund the MSTY stock, because basically they're using options income and U.S. Treasury income and things like that to give the dividend every month. They give a dividend. Do you want more than 25, 30% return? Well, stay tuned, because we have a lot to talk about. Those are assets. And so I'm going to give you a preview of the video tomorrow right now, just so everybody might as well see it. Here goes. Every Friday, YMAX gives out dividends. Now, the dividend this Friday was small compared to other times. And I'm referring to, you'll see what I mean in a second. Look, 1020 every week. They distribute at a 68% distribution. I know it's kind of crazy, right? High risk, high rewards. If you put in $1,000, if you invest in this according to the 68% distribution, in theory, you would have $680 in 12 months. So then you might be like Mr. Dividend going, well, wait a minute. What if I had $10,000? Does that mean I might have $6,800? I would have a check of almost $550 per month? Yes, that's what it could be. So now your mind might start going, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. 20,000, I could have a check like $1,000 per month and then some, potentially. Well, let's look, shall we? Can this really be happening right now? Can this really be happening? I don't know. Here you go. 68.13% distribution rate. This is different. They're going to distribute 60. Remember, you could be reinvesting your dividends. And since it's every Friday that they give a kick out now. So let's see here. Here's 920 right here. So 920 to 1020, we have 22 cents, 22 cents, 20 cents. That's like 65 cents, 85 cents in a month. If they keep doing this, and then you have how many? Let me do something real quick here. $17 is the share price. So you could have $17,000 would be 1,000 shares. So you would have received $1,000. So you would have gotten a check today for more than $226 with 1,000 shares on a 17,000 investment. $1,000 per month, $14,000, $12,000 annually. I'm just giving you rough estimates. That means you could win. Now, again, this is high risk, high rewards whenever you see this kind of stuff. All right. You have to give up something traditionally. So just pay attention, go study. That's Yield Max ETFs. You can find this. Now, some people would say, well, here's the Magnificent Seven. You know what the FANG and Magnificent Seven stocks are by any chance, ladies and gentlemen? Well, of course, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Instagram, thank you so much for being there. Make sure you hit that follow button. 14.9% sound a little more reasonable? I think a lot of people would say that's more reasonable. So in case you don't know what the Magnificent Seven are, it's Apple, it's Amazon, it's Google, it's Meta, it's Microsoft, it's Nvidia, and it's Tesla. Traditionally, almost like the FANG stocks. So here is what Goldman Sachs is saying, that 3% for 10 years, a decade, could happen for the S&P 500, which is where most of these are. So here's what they paid out today of 5 cents this week. Even after previously it was 57 cents, 19, 17, 16, 28, 22, but 5 cents today. So that is very interesting. And this also is a weekly payout, which means it gives you an opportunity to reinvest. So every week you can actually be on steroids. This could be buying additional shares of stock. So the next week you could possibly get a higher payout. But remember, this is not a traditional type of dividend like a real estate investment trust. This is something totally different that you need to go to Yield Max ETFs and go study. All right. So please go study, but 14.9% return isn't that attractive if for now. All right. So I just want to point these out. And I want to go one more. And the reason I'm going to go to this page, you can see this over here. If you can get these titles, look at the history, or as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. There's a big reason. I usually I can't show Yield Max ETFs for some reason on this channel. Every time we start showing Yield Max ETFs, we get Jason K. Thank you so much for being here on the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live stream. And he says stream is breaking up. Exactly. Whenever we go to Yield Max ETFs, we always have an issue. It's as if somebody's watching us. But you guys get the drift of the situation. I'll be dropping a video tomorrow about this. And, oh, there's more. Hold on a second. There's something that's exciting. Hold on. I forgot about something. ORC, Real Estate Investment Trust. I'm only going to show you this one because I have more tomorrow. But this shocked me today because I didn't realize the percentage it was at. Oh, this is glorious. Can you believe the percentage? 18.2% dividend yield. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. Who wouldn't want that type of return on money that you buy the share for at $7.91 for everybody on podcast? ORC. You're going to have to watch the video tomorrow for the other stocks that I would normally talk about, but it's fine. They're also going to be in double digits. All right. Just keep that in mind. And why I like real estate investment trust is because they are in real estate. They own real estate properties and they finance them. And when the Federal Reserve reduces interest rates, that helps them as far as I'm concerned, because they'll be able to refi to a lower rate to give out profits like they're supposed to. So that helps them greatly. So the Federal Reserve will be on their business in the next 45 to 60 days and reduce it another whatever, half point, quarter point, whatever they're going to do. And that helps out the real estate investment trust in my eyes. You guys have to go study yourself and see if ORC is worth it. Can you see that 18.2% annual return, ladies and gentlemen? Set yourself up. You be the bank. You be the boss. You be the mutual fund, the hedge fund manager. You be the CEO of your life. And you can always get this type of gear at stopstrugglingnow.com. And no fear, no excuses, but you're going to have to be the CEO of your life, which is actually one of our t-shirts and hoodies as well. Go over there and go check it out. Jason K, thank you. Wow. Exactly, Brian P. 18.2. I like it. Safe zone. I call it like safe ORC, high risk. I mean, what it is. Why? Because the stock market had a little sell-off. People are taking profits. Let's get real. So what else? Brokerage accounts. You need those. Get your Robinhood, get your Webull. If you don't like them, then go get Fidelity. Open up a Fidelity brokerage account. Don't like them, then get E-Trade. Take your pick. But you need a brokerage account. You need to be in the stock market. That's the only place where the rich are going to play the most. That means as long as you're in there, nothing's really going to happen, right? As far as a complete wipeout, because then that would wipe out. Just think about it right now. The top 10 people, the top 10 wealthiest people, their net worth or their worth is based on the shares of stock that they hold in the corporations. If stock market goes to zero, they literally have nothing. Literally. Them stocks are worth nothing. Now they're just like you and I. I'm just saying, so you don't think the government's not going to help out the rich guys. Let's get real. All right. They're their friends. They bribe them. Again, I keep mentioning this. I don't know. I got to get it through everybody's head. You know, you got to pay attention out here. So buy assets, not liabilities over the next 3 years is the mantra. And again, if you just now joined us late on Monday, you don't want to miss it. All right. You guys are hearing it here first. And I said it at the beginning, Matthew Lesko is going to be on our Monday night live stream at 8:50 p.m. You want to talk grants? You want federal? You want state? You want city? You want grants? Then I suggest you join that live stream. Don't miss it. It's already up, so you can register now or hit the follow or hit the likes on that program. So therefore, you won't miss it. 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, in 3 days, the 28th. All right? Don't miss it. And of course, he has his own program that he does right now. But the point is, he's going to tell us some things that you guys may want to know, because there's a lot of people out here that says, hey, I got a healthcare scenario. Can you help? Well, they have prescription. It depends on what city and state you live in. There's always grants. Any little amount of grants could help you. You starting a business, there's some grants. Depends on your city, state that you're in. You have to apply. Apply. I'm going to tell you a little story, because you know Friday nights are story nights. Whenever I've run a contest, here's the funniest part. A contest where a person actually has to do steps, people wouldn't do 2 steps to get into the contest. The less steps you have, the more people will get into the contest. So this is the same thing that happens with grants. Soon as they say, oh, you need to fill out this one thing, then you need to send in this 2 things. And by the way, a 3rd thing, that starts eliminating people, believe it or not. So oftentimes you may think, I don't get a grant. I shouldn't even apply since anybody can get it. Well, you don't know how many people apply. Some people charge to do grants. Think about that. And I'm not talking about $20 or $10 either. Hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to help you get grants. And we have the man, Let's Go, on Monday night. All right, just letting you guys know, so don't miss it. Stop struggling now. We want everybody to win. Rising tides lifts all boats, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Joe Nay. Another investor is in the house tonight. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream with that icon next to his name, which I humbly appreciate. And he brings his tagline, good evening, SSN Nation. And it says, my phone alerts are going off. I'm receiving dividends, getting that reinvestment. That's what we're talking about, Joe Nay. He must be part of, oh yeah, we have some other things that we can talk about too. Part of that IWMY, part of that Y Max party that gives dividends every Friday, and then part of the we're on the C, which means some more dividends kicked in again. That's right, notifications all night, all day long. If you have 8 to 10 different holdings, Yield Max ETFs is where I was, in case you guys saw that before. But there's other places as well that you can check out. High risk, high rewards, FEPI, for instance, right? Which I don't even have up for tomorrow, but that's going to come up for tomorrow as well. I know what you mean, Joe Nay. Congratulations. I got the notification, saw the trailer, and just smashed that like button. Thank you so much for that. I greatly appreciate it. All right. Oh, the trailer for tonight. I think that was the People's Choice Awards, wasn't it? Yep, that means a good story night. But I told part of the story before anyhow. So if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the all notification bells. And if you'd like to become a member of the channel, please do so. That would be greatly appreciated. That's the only way you can get the icon next to your name. All right, so we'll start the first half of story night. Also, Friday nights are story night now, just so you guys know. So, People's Choice Awards. So now, me and the wife have to go to the people. We don't have to. My friend calls me up. I'm in SAC. He says, hey, man, you got to get down here to the People's Choice Awards. And it's the day before. And I'm like, I've never been to the People's Choice Awards before. I'll be there. It's like, where's it at? It's near the Staples Center in the entertainment district, downtown LA. I'm like, well, okay, that means I got to stay at the Hilton or something, right? But anyhow, so we get down there, and then they started this seating thing. They're like, oh, you're going to be sitting over here. I said, nah. I'm like, the wife's with me, of course. I don't go to any functions without the wife. Let's just put it out. Any party atmosphere stuff, I usually don't have. I always have the wife. It's security for me. So I'm sitting there. They're like, you're going to sit in the middle. I said, okay, I'm going to sit in the middle. But after the first commercial break, I'm sitting where Nia Long's sitting. I'm supposed to be sitting next to her. And they're like, what? I said, yeah, next to her. She's sitting up front over here. And they're like, they look at the stuff and they're like, all right. So now the commercial break comes up. They go, I'm over here. Okay. So I'm sitting, she's in the freaking front row, sitting next to, I can't remember his name. I think it's Bellamy, if I'm not mistaken. and some other entertainers, because I didn't know that they were having a show coming out and they were all going to sit in the same thing. So that's why I'm sitting in the 6th or 7th row back with the wife, of course. And she's like 6, 7 rows up. And I'm just like, damn. So I couldn't move up. We couldn't move up, but it was blocked off. So anyhow, that's what you saw. And that's why when Jane Lynch came up the aisle, that's why you saw I was so close, because we're like 6 rows back, I think 6, 7 rows back, something like that. So that's how I get to that spot. And then after that's over, Daily Mail, people from LA knows where that is. And so now they have the VIP party. And so that's when we go into the entrance, do the photo shoot upstairs. And that's where, for the first time, the guy, what's his name from Kiss? Gene Simmons and his family come in, and they do their little photo shoot too. And so we're sitting there in the green room, so to speak, before we go upstairs to the party thing. Well, he didn't go upstairs to the party thing. They didn't, but they were down there. And my friend also, he came running in because he's been hitting on Gene Simmons' daughter for like 5 years. I'm like, dude, give it up already. So anyhow, Gene's cool kind of with him and all that, but still, I'm like, dude, just stop already. I'm like, she's off limits anyhow. So we go upstairs, and as soon as we get in the elevator, there's this little lady that's like 5'2", kind of chunky. And I see her and I just look at her and I'm like, she's nice enough. But then I realized it was the Abby that used to do that cheerleading show, the little girls cheerleading thing. And I'm like, oh, but the wife knew who she was automatically. And then it took me like 5 to 10, 20 seconds before I realized, oh, that's that girl. So we get upstairs, we come out, and it's pretty cool. It's all cool. Drinks are flowing, music's great, everything's fine. All kind of who's there, that's fine. But I'll give the thing that I did not like was we had Amber Rose and another artist. They sat next to us. All right. So when they came, not the other artist. I think it was Sierra. If I'm not, no, it's not Sierra. Well, anyhow, I can't remember. But the point is, artist famous, and then Amber Rose kind of famous, kind of. And then, but Amber brought bodyguards. So we have a room full of superstars in the house. Nobody has bodyguards. Nobody. But this girl has bodyguards. It was funny as hell. So that wasn't the interesting thing. The interesting thing was there was no actual food in the venue. That's when they started doing this no food thing, foo stuff thing, right? I was like, so what? She orders food. So she's sitting next to us. People were trying to come up and get autograph or do something with her. And she was telling the bodyguards, hey, tell them to leave me alone or whatever. And I'm like, everybody else in here is like personable. All the other people who are superstars are personable, signing stuff. But she's acting tripping. It was so bad that she's in there tripping. The bodyguards are actually talking, we're bantering back and forth, just talking. And then when the food comes, instead of giving it to her, which they gave her a little bit, they started coming down our row because she was like a little obnoxious, like, hey, man, here's some food. They felt bad. It was funny as hell. But the point is, SSN lifestyle. If you want a lifestyle that you can go do anything you want at any time, then you have to have passive income, right? So if your pension's not safe, which you don't get to collect later, your Social Security may not be safe, which you collect later, then what can you collect now in case you do get laid off, like my original example of Boeing being on strike? What happens if they wake up and say, you know what? We'll just fire everybody, or, well, that'd be illegal. But the point is, you know what? We'll just lay you off indefinitely. So now where are you going to have this extra income coming in from? That's the $1 million question. And if you want to retire early, then there's ways to do it. And how can you do it is the question. Well, we just gave you a few ways earlier. You can have some of those dividend funds coming in. You can also start or buy a business, take high risk, high rewards that way. There's several other things, passive income, and there's so much social media that pays people now for doing any damn thing, except for us here in the SSN Nation. We don't get a lot of views, but the point is, that is what we're trying to do. Make sure you smash the like buttons no matter where you are, the follow buttons, the heart buttons, the whatever button they have, so people know whatever platform you're on that you are watching. All right, let's go. Joe Nay, he says, I smashed the like button. All right, what else can we get into? Because I'm not going to be here again all night. But I will do something for you. This is because Let's Go is coming. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to put this in the chat room so you guys can start perusing for some local state grants. So when he comes on Monday, you can ask questions if you want. You're going to want to make sure you come back. There's findhelp.org. This is something that he promotes. Go over there and see and check things out, because there's going to be more. So that's why I don't mind giving you at least that. That's not going to be so bad, right? So just want to make sure everybody understands the playbook, what we're doing here, what you need to do, what you should be doing. All right? Make sure your concentration right now should be on investments that make you money next month. It should not be on long-term investing, because, again, there's predictions all over the place. Some people are saying it's going to be Armageddon, meaning Great Depression. Other people are saying, oh, no, let the good times continue to roll. It's going to happen. I'm in the camp, just so everybody knows, I'm in the camp of the good times are going to roll. Why am I saying that? Is because if everything remains equal, the fact that the Federal Reserve is going to reduce interest rates, what's going to end up happening is people are now going to be able to borrow to buy homes, to buy cars, to buy whatever based on credit. Credit, remember, is based on the retail price. It's not based on what you have. So you're inflating the currency. I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. If I'm going to buy a house, and the house is average-wise $500,000, I only put down, let's say, $100,000 at 20%. The rest is a loan, right? But it's the equivalent of 500. Somebody's getting $400,000, right? $500,000 is getting somewhere, and basically it's thin air money out of thin air. But somebody who has received profit is now going to go on a buying spree. So that means stocks go up, economy prices rise. And so that's why I think the opposite of Goldman Sachs. And here's the funny part. Goldman Sachs is nothing to play with. All right. They're like one of the smartest companies in the financial sector ever built. So when they say it could be 3% growth for a decade up until 2034, 2035, it's worth noting. The guy here, me on YouTube, you might have to go, wait, we gotta be side-eyed about this. Eric's on the opposite end of the spectrum. And now I can't blame you for none of that. But that's the biggest, funniest thing with the financial markets. Everybody invests differently based on their research. Right? So if you believe one way, then you're going to do something another way. If you believe growth is only going to be 3%, then you probably would say, well, okay, let me go get bonds right now at 4.2, 4.5% annually for the next 10 years. That's what they're saying. So now I have to question, what is Goldman Sachs' ulterior motive? Because you can get 10-year treasuries for more than their 3%. So people would be buying. Now, keep in mind, recently, a lot of people around the world, countries, withdrew from the US bond market, which causes alarm because now they're thinking also there might be a downturn. See, all the signs are there, right? But again, the Federal Reserve, all they have to do is click the switch and say, okay, the federal rate will drop it 0.5. See, they can actually manufacture money out of thin air, even without the bonds, because people will borrow. All right. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this. All right. I'm going to see if I need to show something else. No, that's not it. I'm going to drop a video tomorrow, so I don't want to show you guys anything more. All right. Now, let's see. Is there any other subject matter you guys want to talk about tonight? Again, I'm not going to be too long on these videos starting now because, you know, sometimes we're on there 2, 3, 4, 3 hours. The longest we've ever done was 5. Now I'm doing an hour to an hour and a half. So now we can make it short and sweet. And also, I have to promote the SSN Lifestyle Punta Cana Investors Forum. If you want to start a business or get real estate offshore, no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry, you can open bank accounts. Yes, United States, well, no matter what citizen you are, you can open bank accounts in the Dominican Republic, as long as you have necessary paperwork. The Punta Cana Investors Forum is December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. You should be there the 1st through the 5th. So you can arrive on the 1st, depart on the 5th. On the 2nd, we're going to the lawyer's office. Why lawyer's office day 1? Because I have a rule. You need to know what the laws are if you're going to be doing business over there. So if you have questions, it's $199 to come to the Punta Cana Investors Forum. It does not include airfare, it does not include hotel, but it does not cost you for asking questions, and you can ask as many. I think our record for being at one lawyer office is 2.5 hours. I know. Can you believe that? And all type of questions came up that most people aren't even thinking about, right? You just never know what somebody's going to ask. And the fact that they're going to answer and you can take it to the bank. But can you really take everything to the bank, or should you get another perspective? So then we go to a second attorney law office, just in case you forgot a question, just in case you're like not sure, maybe they'll explain it a little better. So now you have another opportunity. I love it. It's beautiful. You want to open up a bank account there, then we get you pre-approved. So when you arrive, one of those 3-4 days, you can go to the bank and open up a bank account, and you don't have to take 5 hours, and you'll actually have a bank account. Because the way it works right now is like 1965 or 1975, where you go in, fill out paperwork. Oh, we'll send you your account number in the mail kind of thing. That's what we're dealing with right now in 99% of the instance banking. So then you still have to come back for another hour to sign some stuff. We try to avoid all of that. Not all of it, but the first 4 to 5 hours that you normally have to deal with, that'll be wiped off because we send in the paperwork and get everything to the lawyer's assistant. So then that way, when you arrive, it's already approved. So you can go in and then you'll do your hour and a half, because that's generally what it's going to take. Wet signatures are going to be needed. And you can put in $500 for USD is the least. And we'll call it $100 for a peso account. It's that simple. All right. So can get you all set. The next day, you're interested in real estate or business, either way, it does not matter, but we'll be going around. So you will see some areas of Punta Cana. So you'll get kind of like distances, lay of the land, things like that. Although we're done usually around 4:30, 5 o'clock. So you can always go around and see things. But the fact of the matter is, you can go around with us and you'll see where the lay of the land. We'll go see some projects in case you're interested in buying a no credit check, no qualifying pre-construction project. So we have that for you. And then on the third day, it's a combo because this year we're going to do banking, because a lot of people are going to have delivery of their units in the next year or two. So you need to understand how the banking system works. It's going to change. So it's eye-popping when you hear somebody say 8.5% for 1 year at this bank, 8.5% fixed up to 5 years at another bank. But either way, after that time, adjustable rates. And then you say the question, well, what's the adjustable rate? You're thinking like an American. Okay, 6%. I mean, 3, 5, what? When you hear 13.5, 14%, you're like, what? Did he? What? You're thinking you misheard. You're thinking you didn't hear what you heard. You're like, what is this? 12.5% adjustable? And it could be adjusted every month, depending on the bank. Adjusted semi-annually or annually. It's not even like a thing. It's like almost every month it could be adjustable. I mean, that's insane. That is insane. If it goes up, that's insane, right? If it goes down, you're happy. But good God Almighty, double digits. Anybody have a double-digit loan? Seriously, anybody have a double-digit loan? Because that is insane when you think about it, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. You guys know what comes next. We always have some more SSN lifestyle stuff. So let me see what do I want to do tonight. Let's go with, oh man, these are all mixed up. Hold on a second. I'll go with this one. We'll go here. Come on, come on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Philippines. That's the island of Cebu, Manila. Went to another island too, but I can't remember which one it was. But anyhow, it was fun. It was another. I mean, it's somewhat of a. I don't want to call it a third world because Manila's not, but some of those islands, it's kind of third world-ish. All right, so just be careful when you go out there. It's not like it's not safe. It's just that certain situations arise, like plumbing, water, things like that on the islands, on the outer, even Cebu, which is known. Philippines, Manila is a big city, so it's just a normal city. You don't have to worry about any of that there. But nonetheless, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to discuss tonight, because you know what I want to discuss, something totally different than what we've been talking about for the last hour. Is we discussed a few days ago when the president what you guys are thinking about that, because we discussed it and Jaway J went over it pretty well, the ramifications from not doing it. And there is there is something going on right now. Punta Cana Bishop calls for immediate action on Verone Punta Cana land use plan. Um, I think this is going to come up quite often in a lot of areas because they are building way too many units within, let's call it an acre. And you still have to worry about water, plumbing, sewer, water, plumbing, if you got sewer and water and plumbing, right? So these are the type of things worrying about those from an investor standpoint, right? We want other things. And I also noticed, just so everybody knows, I normally put out a Dominican Republic tourist report. They haven't released the numbers. This is the 25th of the month. These guys have been hiding the numbers. I'm like, what are you doing? This indicates to me that either it must not be anything that's crazy, like an extra 20%. It must not have broken a record this year for the month of September. They normally come out at the middle of the month, the latest. When it gets to the 20th or thereabouts, the 18th, 19th, it definitely comes out. I haven't found the numbers for September yet. So that is very, very interesting. I'm expecting a slowdown with tourism at some point. And there's a reason. Because if 70% of American citizens are living paycheck to paycheck, and 50%, 54% of the tourists to the Dominican Republic are U.S. citizens, then I'm thinking there's going to be a cutback. And then if you add the 6% from Canada, that's 60%. 60% of the market of tourism to the island of Dominican Republic is from Canadians and USA citizens, with USA citizens bringing the most, 54%. And people in Canada are under the same weight because prices went up there as well. Crazily. So that's how it is. But again, I cannot find any numbers. They're not, Ministry of Tourism is not wanting to show any numbers. So this tells me, this is kind of, I mean, it's a month. There's the record be over. This would be a slowdown, which has already started showing itself when I was there in May and June. And so I just want to caution everybody, when you're out here, we have this project right now. If you're in the SSN Lifestyle WhatsApp group, I posted some Moon Palace condos, pre-construction condos from Celia. Those condos, which somebody noted, I don't remember if it's Joe Nay or Paul Castillo, but they noted that there were condos for $510,000 at this Macau location. And you would think for $510,000, you're buying like a 3,000 square foot penthouse unit at the top of a building. Incorrect. Incorrect. That's how crazy this is. Way, way out there. I'm just like, this is way out of, you can buy villas for 500 grand. Never mind this condo situation. Yeah, I'm at the beach. Yeah, I might have beach or ocean view, but damn it, 500,000. And are you going to live there? And it's not going to be 3,000 square feet. All right. That is what's crazy. So speaking of that, I'm going to pull it up, which I don't think I have anything here. Okay, this is not good. I see somebody's in here again. This is I need to delete. Hold on a second, ladies and gentlemen. I have somebody that is in our chat and I need to block. All right. I'm going to go show you guys some of this Oh, damn. Okay, never mind. Ranks 4th. Okay. Let me see. Here goes Celia Tower A. This is the October price right now. Let me pull this up. Let me see. Wait, I can't pull it up. What's happening? Oh, that's not good. Hold on a second. I want to show you the prices. I can't pull this up. Huh. That's strange. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Oh, oh, we don't have, they're all reserved. Hold on a second. So I don't even see that price. Let's see here. No, I see 479,000. 439. Ooh, I see 695. Okay, yeah, these are not even. There's one that's 2,000 square feet, and the Ocean View one that is only 128 square meters is 479,000 for a 2-bedroom. That's crazy. 128 square meters is only what, 1,450 square feet thereabouts. That is crazy. 479 grand. So that's what we're dealing with out here, ladies and gentlemen. This is in Macau, though. Bobby Marone, I see you. Thank you for being in the house. Man, thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate it, Bobby Marone. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being in the house tonight. And everybody, make sure you follow Jupinder, Sonia. I see you as well. Thank you for being there on Instagram. Make sure you guys follow. We're trying to get out of the 20s. We're in the 920 followers. They keep removing followers every time we get to 920. So can we get to 923, 924, 925? I want to see what happens. Are they still going to remove followers? And I say they, it's Instagram or Facebook, whoever. So just keep that in mind. So thank you, everybody, for being there. And thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. So once again, SSN Lifestyle, make sure you go sign up, and you can sign up at stopstrugglingnow.com for your tickets to the SSN Lifestyle Punta Cana Investors Forum. We may be going out to Macau area. I've been out there before, which is where the Hard Rock is, and I've seen the Moon Palace. They were out there working on it, and that was only 6 months ago. That place, it's huge, right? Compared to everything else there. It'll be the only thing allowed because the previous administration allowed somebody to build 18 stories high by the water to block water views. Potentially, if you're on the mountain, you can see the water. But if it was all lined up like it is in Miami, then it would block water views from way back. But that's why water views are going to cost more, right? I'm just saying. All right. If there's anything else you guys want to discuss and talk about, please let me know, no matter what platform you're on. Alan B, I see you. Thank you so much for being on the Instagram. Make sure you guys hit that follow button, hit the like button, hit all of the buttons. If you missed what I said earlier, Matthew Lesko is supposed to be on the SSN Nation on Monday. In case people don't know who that is, he's the guy that's with the question marks late night on TV saying, I'll get you grants. I'll get you federal grants. He looks crazy. Older guy now, but at one time he was so much younger. But now he'll be on Monday. Bedard, Tom Bedard, I see you. Thank you so much for being in the house on the live stream. So once again, he'll be in the house. If you want to learn about grants, state and federal, I don't know about international wise, but we'll find out. And hopefully you'll get a little bit of information. In fact, let me see if I have this. Yes, on the Instagram crew. There goes something that he helps people with, findhelp.org, which actually you can do it yourself. Go find out, start perusing around just for some grants from your city. If you're in a city, I don't know if they do it in a different country, but anyhow, go to findhelp.org. You can check it out that way. All right. Business, personal, household, housing, education, healthcare. There's all kind of different grants the government of the United States gives away. And if you fill out some paperwork, most of the time, it might take you 30 minutes. It might take you an hour. Not saying it's 100% approval or a grant you'll get, but that's what it may take, because there's people out here charging to actually submit for grants for you. But this is not that on Monday. He's going to be there to answer questions. Yes, he does have his own thing that he helps people with for $20. All right. We'll see what he's going to talk about on that regard. And he has something else that you can pay like $6 or $10 and do it yourself, and like a guide. So either way, he's not out here trying to be these other people who are saying, give me $500, give me $1,000 or more, and with helping you for grants. All right. So just keep all of that in mind, because we're here to help. This is part of Stop Struggling Now. We want you to win. We give you tools to win. Speaking of tools to win, I keep forgetting about something also down in the description box, and that is Unstoppable Domain. Unstoppable Domain is crypto related. What do I mean by that? Just like we have StopStrugglingNow.com, we also have StopStrugglingNow.crypto, but it's not only where it could be used as a website, but you can receive crypto. That's right. From over 350 different cryptocurrencies. If somebody says, hey, I have, it doesn't matter, Tron, what's your alphanumeric character? Send it to me, or send me a QR, whatever. All I got to do is go, no. Just send it to ericbird.crypto. Simple. I don't need to give you nothing else. ericbird.crypto. The money comes in, whatever crypto you send. It would be Tron's going to work. It's in the top 350. So he sends crypto to that. I don't need to do anything else. That's one. Number two, .nft, .888, .bitcoin, they have several different ones, and it only costs, they sometimes have promotions for $5, and it's a one-time fee. So that means you have that for life. It's not like a .com or .net or any of this other Web 2 stuff or Web 1 where you have to re-up your domain name every year and the price keeps going up every year, right? None of that, because it's on the blockchain. You mint it for free. So some of these domains, like the NFT, is usually $10. The X could range. The X could be $25 to $100, depending on, I don't know what it depends on. But go to Unstoppable Domain and get yourself a domain, because you never know where crypto's going to go. It may seem like no big deal right now, but for $5 to $20 to $30 to $40 one-time fee, you never have to pay, and you always have that in your company name, business name. Yeah, we have StopStrugglingNow.crypto, StopStrugglingNow.nft, because you never know what the future is going to hold, right? And so that is something that I recommend as well. And I'm going to put that also in the chat room everywhere I can. So you guys, if you don't want to get off and do anything, because I know when you're watching on your phones, it's hard to get into the description box. So there's Unstoppable Domain for you. Go over there. Like I said, go look for yourself. It's very easy. You're going to need a MetaMask, or you're going to need some sort of crypto wallet, because you mint it. So that means you own it. Once you mint it, it's free mint with Polygon Network. So that's another bonus. So not only did you pay, let's say $20, but it's a one-time payment. Now, if crypto becomes a real big thing and there's transactions on it, you have a wallet. And what easier if it's your company name or your personal name? I mean, that's cool, right? So what I did was, just so you guys know, I actually, my daughters don't even know, I actually have the .cryptos all in my daughters' names, just in case. that it becomes a big time thing where they need, that might come in handy later, but it's in their name .crypto. All right. So, and in case something happens to me, I will shout out to this. I love you, my daughters. All right. All three. I got three beautiful, smart daughters. So I'm very proud of them. They're all awesome. All right. So, unstoppable domains, ladies and gentlemen, that puts you into another category as well. That can hold some other different type of assets down the line. The actual unstoppable domain could be an asset because you can have a website that is on a blockchain. That means there is no ISP that can take it down. That means there is no government that can roll in and say, take it down by court order. It's on the blockchain. That is something that ends up being special. And as long as somebody has access to the internet, then they're going to have access to your website. And right now, you can actually put a website on there. It's just that it's not really designed right now for it. So the websites are usually small, like 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, something like that. But you can get into it more if you want to delve into it. But me personally, I haven't gotten into it more. I just know you can do it. Because they have the 1 page, 2 page thing in the back office of Unstoppable Domain. So you can actually load it up and do like, you know, a picture, a bio, and maybe a video kind of thing. But it's not like you're going to build a 10-page website, as far as I know. Things could have progressed over the last year or so, but nonetheless, I'm just giving you guys tools, because if something hits the fan, you want to be able to maneuver around the world. Keep that in mind, around the world. All right. I've been maneuvering around the world ever since I was 18. What do I mean by that? Not travel. Well, okay, I traveled too, but my dad was in the military too to help me out when I was younger. But when I got older, I played sports. So then we travel all over. But the other part to this is, when I was 18 years old, I was dealing with companies in the Asian markets, Taiwan, Philippines, Hong Kong, which wasn't China at the time. Hong Kong was controlled by the UK. Their agreement to turn it back over to China happened years later. But at the time, Hong Kong was not China. It was like the USA, for Christ's sakes. Over there, they were manufacturing stuff at so cheap of prices. Japan, Thailand. I was getting products from overseas and selling them in America. Same thing that people are doing right now with Alibaba, I was doing like 30, 40 years ago. All right. So that is what's happening in the world. So once you know early on in your life, and you find out that all these products you're buying and you thought was all this and that, they were actually being manufactured with low slave labor, and you're paying ridiculous prices for stuff that costs like 20. Well, now in today's prices, I'll use today's stuff that costs $5, $10, $15, $20 to make, and you're out here buying it for $500, $1,000, $1,500. Not in all cases, but I'm just giving you an example. That's what people are doing and don't realize it. But ever since back then, I realized it. So that's why at the time, it was very hard for me to wear designer anybody. Because I was like, why would I wear that stuff? Because once you kind of know how they make it and where it comes from, you're just like, well, wait a minute. This thing didn't cost no damn $1,000. It didn't even cost $500. It didn't even cost $100 to make. But yet people are walking around and spending over thousands of dollars. Jeans costing $500, $600, $700 at one time. I don't know if they still do, but I was sitting there like, are you kidding me right now? So all I did was story night, kind of. All I did was I just went to, I used to say this all the time, and this may be, don't take it wrong if you're Asian or whatever, but I used to call it like Kim Juk Lum, right? I used to go, you know what? I'm just going to go down and see Kim Juk Lum, and I'll go down and see him. Why? Because I go down because he's the seamstress or she. And so I would just have my clothes specially made. I would just go down and see them. Why am I going to spend $500, $600, $1,000 for stuff when I can actually have stuff made for less than $100? And it fits me specifically, made my way, my stuff. Doesn't have my name or nothing on it, but it's whatever design I got, from the pants to my shirts, all my stuff. Yeah, I would have a little tag, whatever it was, DB or whatever I'd have on there, but nobody ever asked me. They'd just be like, "That's kind of cool, man. Where'd you get it?" I'd be like, it's like one. I made it, or not me, but Kim Luck Jum made it for me. And so I had another wardrobe that obviously nobody would have. So this is all I'm saying. Now you fast forward, because we're a consumer nation here in America. We are, the EU zone is, damn near a large percentage of the population around the world do not have the luxuries that we have, right? Unless you're in another country. Like if you're in Manila, okay, you're going to have stuff like in America. But as soon as you go outside of town, it's almost like it's a whole nother different world. And outside of town is not like town. Manila's probably got, I'd guess it has 8,000 or 9,000. I mean, 8 million or 6 million. It's got to have millions of people. I mean, it's a huge city. It's like San Francisco-ish, kind of. It's actually kind of cool in some areas. So just letting everybody know, it's kind of cool. And again, okay, since it's story night, Manila. We're in Manila. We're staying by the science. I think science technology or science. I can't remember the name of the science place. But anyhow, that'll give you a clue on a map. Look for Manila Science. And we stayed literally across the street in the high-rise condos. All right. So we go to the mall. And we're in the mall. This mall is huge. I think it's like four stories high. It's something like that. It's like maybe even 5. It's stories high. And so imagine that you see a few people. Not a lot. There's not like, thousands of people. It's not like there's a crowd of people walking past each other. It's like 10, 20. And so I'm walking in there with the wife, and I'm like, after we're in there about 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes, I turned to her and I said, "Hey," I said, "you notice anything?" And she goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "You notice nobody in here is carrying bags. I mean, it's like there's nobody buying anything." And then I was like, "That's interesting." And that's always threw me off. I mean, I saw people outside with bags, but generally everybody that were walking by in there from floor 2, floor 3, nobody had bags. But we saw people looking in stores or this, that, and the other. But I was like, well, this is weird shopping. But then I'm like, I wouldn't be shopping here either if I lived in the Philippines. I would be going to get my stuff made. This is crazy. I wouldn't be in this mall. So that's what I was thinking. I'm like, they're not stupid. So, but I got to give them credit. I'll give this upstairs on the top floor. They had restaurants, meeting places. All the restaurants were excellent. Nothing bad about the mall or anything. Everything was great in Manila. It's, like every major city, they have a good side of town, bad side of town kind of thing. But the fact of the matter is Manila was cool as hell. Especially when we went to another section there. We went to this other, I don't even know what to call it really. I'll just call it downtown because it's another mall. This mall's different. On the bottom floor, now it's like everything you see, you got the Nikes, you got the Nike gear, you got all this stuff. Now, people have to remember, you're in the Philippines, close to China. Where are Nikes made? right? Where are the factories? Most people don't know where all the factories are, right? You look at this stuff, and some people would say this is fake. I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm just like, I'm like, wait, this ain't even fake. And the guys start laughing, like they're like, we know. And I was like, but it's not fake. And this stuff is like half the price. This stuff is like $30. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, yeah, because stupid Americans. They're over in America spending big bank for all this stuff. Crazy stuff. Okay, Michael Anthony, we're on the live stream. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday night live stream. Another investor is here. Did Israel attack Iran tonight? I do not know. I do not know, because it's going to be morning not yet. It's still nighttime in Israel. I don't know what happened. Hold on a second, man. That would be interesting. I'm only going to say it's going to be interesting, quite frankly. I'm going to say it's interesting because that doesn't even make any real sense. Okay, here we go. Yep, Tehran. Live updates. Israel says 12 minutes ago it's striking military targets in Iran. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Israel launches direct strikes on Iran in high-stakes retaliation. Oh, no. I hope these military strikes aren't. I hope they're not doing what they're doing to Gaza, just blowing away apartment buildings, talking about Hamas is in there, because this is going to escalate. And in fact, the only reason it hasn't escalated yet is because, in my opinion, is because Russia has their own problems right now. And Iran is not like friends with their neighbors. So their neighbors are like, all right, whatever. I'm like, yeah, but this could also rally some people. You know what I'm saying? Because there's lots of things about this. Biden didn't even know about the strike. Well, how's he supposed to know? Is Israel going to tell him? I mean, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If you're Israel, why are you going to tell somebody that there's going to be strikes? You're not calling up asking for permission, are you? First of all, hold on. First of all, this thing about Israel being our friend, I really, 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 people, you need to slow up on this. All right. Israel spies on us too. All right. They're trying to figure out what's going on with citizenry, hacking people's stuff here in USA. So, I mean, slow your roll up with this Israel thing. They're almost like to me, they're like a damn rogue country as far as I'm concerned. They have weapons from the United States that are the best weapons in all of the Middle East. They're the bullies on the block. And the other nations are doing what they do: pester, hit, knowing full well that it could be bad if Israel starts going off, right? And the USA is caught in the middle, because the USA is not going to roll to them and say, hey, man, you're not getting any more money nor weapons, right? USA is not going to do that. So that means by default, any terror that happens in the Middle East, by default, the people, rightfully so, look at Israel and USA for supporting them. So see, this is very, very dangerous. But again, there's nothing USA can do. All they can do is call up and be like, dudes, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You've killed thousands of people for the 57 hostages, right? Is that enough retribution? I mean, what are we doing here? So I mean, this doesn't make any strategic move. if I'm Israel, I don't understand what they're doing. That's my point. I don't get it. They've done significant damage to Gaza Strip. They've killed thousands. Hamas is still Hamas. Iran's still Iran. Syria's still Syria. You're still their neighbors. You're still going to have a problem because you're living on land that was given to them by the Allies. So you got problems. There's no way. Although there was trying to be some sort of peace talks, Saudi Arabia, Israel, some other Arab nations, but that's not all of them. And Iran's not an Arab nation. So again, this is potentially bad. But I want to know, Michael Anthony, what can the USA really do? Here's what the USA's doing. They're backing Israel, which now puts them with Israel against now Iran and now the Palestinians. I'm just saying, I don't see how this plays well. This is just like when we're kids on the playgrounds. Back in the day, one of your friends gets in a fight with some unknown person. We'll call them the Palestinians. You back your friends because they're your friends. Then your friend goes and picks fights with somebody else. But you're backing your friend because you're their friend. The people on the other side that it's happening to sees you're backing your friend. So I'm thinking, not only is your friend a problem, you're a problem, right? Same strategic rules apply. If you get in the backing and your battery pack is from somebody, you're thinking, okay, they're a problem too. And a lot of regions have issues with the USA, which is by default. So that's why I'm like, man, Israel's over there acting like crazy to me. I'm like, dudes, you were a guest. You got a free country. Literally. With tens of billions of dollars sent to you every year in military aircraft to protect yourself. And you're over there acting like, oh, dudes, we're the ones. I'm like, stop already. You know what's funny? Biden didn't even know about the strike. Biden been saying he had been talking to, Netanyahu doesn't give a damn. I'm like, he's a freaking terrorist. Okay. I'm going to offend some people. First of all, I have 50. How many hostages? 57. We had an attack during a concert. 57 hostages gone. What do? I kill damn near 50, 60,000 citizens. Knock down their apartments, homes. I just lay ground to where these people live. Iran finally steps up and says, hold, come on, man, stop. You killed enough people yet? And so of course Iran says, well, man, we don't have to play with you. You want to play? Let's play. So where is this really going? What's what's he doing? I mean, seriously, what's the from a strategic standpoint? Can anybody tell me what is this going to accomplish besides escalation? All right, I'm just asking, because there is no way on this planet that they're going to get into a full-blown war with Iran, and the Middle East is actually just going to be like, oh, it's just between you two. I don't see how that happens. So then what's going to happen? I mean, and the U.S. is the one that's going to keep funding them. U.S. is the one that's going to give them more armory, more military weapons. They're going to back them. It's not a good look, quite frankly. But then again, America has nowhere to talk after they've extinguished millions of people themselves. But if anybody want to take this one, please let me know, because I know a lot of people feel uncomfortable when you have to talk about these situations that somebody else is doing. Again, when Russia rolled into Ukraine and started attacking them, people are looking like, well, USA, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're going to stop another sovereign country from doing what they're doing, and then you're going to blame the USA for them doing it? I'm like, that's crazy. Don't be trying to blame me for their BS. Now, what I do after they do what they do, now you can start blaming me for their BS. Depends on what I'm doing after they do their stuff. But I'm not over there, not helping them, not trying to. But in the case of Israel, that's perceived as United States is backing Israel. And I don't know if Iran's really, I mean, they're not really any real threat, but they have a little weapons that they can actually, sting and do things, but to one end. Because Israel doesn't mind killing a few tens of thousands of innocent people. Kind of like the USA dropping bombs on Nagasaki, Japan, to end the World War, end the war with Japan. Same scenario. So this is bad. This is freaking 1965 all over again kind of crap. 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. So you hold somebody down long enough, you hold people captive, you do these things, sooner or later there has to be a rebellion of some sort. There has to be some armed resistance of some sort. But killing innocent people ain't going to cut it. Even though you get 3 or 4 of the Hamas commanders, that's great, but you wiped out 40, 50,000 people. You don't think the kid that survived, or the adult that survived, or the teenager that survived, you don't think in his heart for the rest of his life that he ain't going to try and get some get back? This is wild. I mean, that's literally what it is. These guys don't have really hardly anything to live for. They're going to be like, you wiped out my family and I'm still alive, and you think, oh, we're going to be friends? How? I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. Let's see what we got here. Michael Anthony says, Israel fighting so many wars right now, and markets will sell off on Monday. Hey, man, I know. I like it. And in fact, oil's going to go down. You were talking about oil a few weeks back. Oil should be going down as well. You're right. I agree with you. But the problem is, just like the United States, going over, meddling, doing things to other countries, there's repercussions, because now people harbor ill will towards you as a country and a people because of what your government has done. So now you're putting 10, 15, 20 years in the future, depending on how things move, somebody else becomes powerful. They don't forget, because they were the ones that was 10 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old when you're wiping out their family. So, 57 hostages are, I don't know if they're dead, but let's say if they were. So 57 dead hostages versus tens of thousands of civilians killed. I don't see how that equation works. In fact, this does have economic impact in the world. How many Palestinians have been killed? 41,000 as of September 29th. So that means it's more than 41,000 now. Dead, not maimed, not having their eardrums bleeding and blasted out. So we're probably talking about damn near 50,000 by now, after another month. So, or injured. We'll put it this way. Dead is definitely 41,000. Dead and or injured is probably another freaking 20 to 30,000. So you got the, I mean, you're putting in, again, you're going to have something like 20 to 30,000 people after whatever gets resolved that's going to have harm for Israel in their heart for their whole life, as long as they live. Iran is probably going to have some of that going down as well. And so you're creating a prophecy that's going to come forward 10 years later, 15 years later. Remember, all countries don't, shall I say, stay down. Because if somebody, you know what, we'll get into this, because this is going to affect the markets, like Michael said. It's going to affect the markets. El Monte won facts. That equation doesn't make sense. That's the way I look at it, El Monte. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream, because it doesn't make sense to me. This is what, there's an art of war, right? And this is what is always messed up from these so-called powers that go over and destroy. They sit there after they destroy, after whatever excuse they had to go destroy and kill thousands, tens of thousands. Then when some attack happens, like the 57 hostages situation happens, they go, oh, let me clutch my pearls. Oh, why did they do that? I'm like, what do you mean? Why did they do that? What do you mean? You just killed off a few 100,000 people over the last 10 to 15 years. What do you mean? I mean, this is what we're dealing with here. This is what I call it's ludicrous. This is what Israel has done. And not only that, Israel, they're an apartheid state for the Palestinians in their territory. You have gates. You have guards. They have army and military personnel walking around in Gaza Strip like they own the damn thing. And there's people still alive in the Gaza Strip whose homes are in frickin' Israel. Stolen homes. They're alive. The kids are now older going, these motherfuckers have my house, to them. And you don't think that's going to be a problem forever? And now you do this again. And now the kids that are 3 years old, 5 years old, 10, 15 and up, 20 years old, see their parents or their brother or their sister or their cousin or their aunt getting blown away. And they're like, we're not in the military. What's happening? And why isn't the world helping? See, when you start thinking from a different perspective, now all of a sudden you're like, what's going on? I'm like, 57 hostages versus how many people died before the 57 hostages was taken. And there's a reason the 57 hostages was taken, because that's the only way that they can actually make a statement for all the terrorism that's been going on for the last 60 years. Don't even let me get started. I'm a black guy in America, for all the terrorism that's been happening here in the United States for 400 years. And then whenever somebody says, hey, man, why did these guys do this? I'm like, what do you mean? The night riders came to my grandparents' house, knocked on the door, killed 4 out of 5 of them. The KKK. And you guys are like, oh, I don't understand why these guys are upset. Stop. This is the equivalent. Clutching your pearls after you then did all the damage you could do. All right, enough. Israel confirmed that it had launched precise strikes on military targets in Iran. Hey, you know what, though? They claim they were doing military targets while bombing hospitals, schools, this, that, and the other, and saying, oh, it's because Hamas was amongst this group. I'm like, yeah, but you still killed a couple of thousand people for these 3 or 5 or 10 Hamas people. Sheesh. That's what's going to happen in Iran. It's going to be the same thing. Oh, we're going for military targets. Trust me. All right, early Saturday local time, the Israel Defense Forces said the strikes were in response to months of continuous. Oh, now it's months. Okay. Interesting. I've been to Palestine years ago. It's definitely under occupation. El Monte knows. This is what I'm saying. In a world of social media, in the world of encyclopedias, people to this day still don't know that. I think it was it UK, United States? I wish I could remember, and maybe France. It probably was UK, United States, and France sat. In fact, you know what? I don't even have to do that. I can just look it up. I'll just look it up. Abrams Accord. So no, that's not the one. That's not. It was United States, UK, and France. We'll call it United States and UK for sure. I don't know if it was France, but anyhow, 3 countries literally, along with other people, kind of said, "Hey, man, we're going to take this Palestinian land and give this to the Jews." After, look at this. You guys, this is 1946. I'm going to tell you something. My dad's alive. He was born before 1946. All right. Let me explain something. If you come to my house, my city, nobody else in the Middle East would take you in as refugees. I take you in as refugees. After I take you in as refugees, these guys say, hey, we're going to give them their own land and it's going to be some of yours. You are 14, 15 years old, 10 years old, 5 years old. You live over there where Israel is right now, your house. You know how to get to it. But as El Monte says, it's occupied. You no longer own that crap. And by the way, United States, UK, we're mad at you too because you backed this crap. And the other country, I can't remember. Maybe somebody will chime in. That's not what I want. I don't want the Abrams Accord. That's not it. Or the Abraham Accord. It was UK, USA. Let me go look it up, man, since we're talking about this, because our markets are going to be all over the place. It's going to be all over the place on Monday. We have oil situations. We have which oil prices could go up. So anyhow, I'll just give you the official accounts. November 29, 1947, the United Nations adopted Resolution 181, also known as the Partition Resolution, that would divide Great Britain's former Palestinian mandate into Jewish and Arab states in May 1948, when the British mandate was scheduled to end. That is the official language. All right. So that's what they called a Jewish Arab state. So why is it that Israel is occupying the Arab state of Palestine? All right. Okay. So there you have it. And from that time on, the people's homes that were stolen in what is now called Israel, they live in Palestine, watching again the horrors. Now that they're 90 years old or something, 80 years old, they're watching the same horrors that they saw 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So you guys got to think about this. So when you see people burning USA flags and they're overseas and you're going, oh, they hate us, I'm like, you guys, you were in on invading their land and giving it to somebody. I mean, not actually invading, but you're voting to invade another country's land and give it to somebody else who doesn't even have the rights. They're not the Jews from the Bible. All right. That's another thing. The initial strikes appear limited to military sites and not Iranian nuclear facilities or oil field, sources say. So they're not going to do what the Russians did, blow out the electrical grid and all that. Michael Anthony, I don't go by newspaper reporting when it has to do with Israel or the United States about wars. As far as they're concerned, nobody was ever there. I just wonder if this will go on all weekend to make sure Iran bases will hit most to all jets and bases. I don't know, man. They're going after certain leaders in Iran. I know. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I don't know what this is doing. Before deciding on Palestinian land, the UK and USA proposed Uganda as a promised land. C6 Zionist Congress, the Uganda proposal. You're right, El Monte. El Monte's a historian. He's exactly, I don't have to look. I know you're right. It was supposed to be further in. I know it's crazy. But you have to understand, remember, the Palestinians actually was the only Arab country that took Jews in. All the other Arab nations were like, F you. Thus, Uganda and every other place is on the list, right? So that's how this all went down. And then finally, the Palestinians were the only ones that said, you know what? All right, you guys can come hang out over here and have a safe haven. That safe haven turned into the United States, UK, all these guys backing Israel and giving them weapons, like to defend themselves, which would make sense. You stole people's land. Yeah, people might be pissed. I mean, this is crazy to me. They're going after certain leaders. Yeah, Michael Anthony, hopefully so. But again, I don't know how. I don't believe they're pinpointing anything. I mean, you're gonna find out for real from other sources. Again, people, listen. You think you live in a certain society in America. The news. Here's the thing. Here's what America does. I have to say it like it is. They're just like China. They're just like North Korea just like Russia when it comes to the dirty work. What do I mean by the dirty work? The dirty work is whatever's happening over in the Middle East, Israel, Palestine, Iran. The news you get back, you should side-eye because it is tailored for you. In other words, propaganda. So unless you have somebody there that's going to tell you what exactly is going on, you cannot go by any news reporting. All right? It's plain and simple. All right? USA, how many times have they go, oh, yeah, we don't have any military personnel in Africa. Then you find some dude getting surrounded by people in Niger. And you're like, wait, I thought we didn't have anybody down there. Then you find out late another time. Oh, wait, what do you mean we got military in Somalia? What are you talking about? How? We don't have any wars down there, but we're there. So you guys got to stop with all this. They're fooling you at every step of the way. 70% of people here in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck while we're giving tax cuts and tax breaks to the freaking rich dudes. The rich dudes get PPP loans. What do? No problem. We'll give loan forgiveness. 85% of PPP loans went to the wealthy. Free money, forgiveness. Don't have to pay it back. Not everybody got 100% forgiveness. Some of you right now who aren't millionaires, you might not have gotten it. But who has to pay back all these tax cut, tax breaks, PPP loan money? We do. You're paying back their share plus your share. And by the way, that just means, it's $200,000 per person right now to pay off the debt. $289, I think it is. So yeah, let's build some more planes that cost $1 trillion. Let's do an annual budget for the military for $1 trillion. Who's going to pay it? We are. So these repercussions that we're backing these other countries and doing all this crazy, this is not the same as when Russia invades an ally. That's totally different. The allies sitting there minding their own business, sleeping in their beds at night, going to bed. They wake up, bombs are hitting their buildings. And you're like, what's going on? Russia's like, oh, we want to rebuild the empire. What empire? Oh, you know, the one from 70, 80, 90, 100 years ago. Wait, what? It's like, and so now it makes sense the US should respond from an aggressor, because if you take out Ukraine, now you're going to have to deal with Poland. Now what? Who's next? Czechoslovakia, Poland, what? They're next door. So they're just going to roll to them, which basically have no army because they're under NATO. So NATO says, oh, you come over here to them, we'll come protect you. So now the USA is going to be in a war de facto because of Russia's BS. This is the problem we have going on right here. This should have been dealt with, like Patton said, when they took out Germany and Hitler, and Patton says, you know what? We're going to have to deal with these guys later. Let's just roll. And the United States goes, nah. See, should have been listening to the general. We wouldn't be in this situation right now. That's all I'm saying. All right. Enough. I won't keep going. It just irritates me to see this activity in the 2024s and 2025s. War is nothing. War ends up bad for all involved. And in a world that has so many places, and a world that all humans have to inhabit, it's a damn shame that people want to rule over other people when you have enough to feed everybody on the planet. It's so sickening. And I'll never get that. It'll never be all one, but we're all human beings. I don't even get it. It's crazy when you really go down to the level and say, you know what? We're all human beings. Why are we caring about colors, religion? Why can't people just live their best life without harming other human beings? Always got to have the bad guys, right? Always got to have somebody that controls somebody. I mean, it's crazy. This is how humans are. Animal kingdom. The weak, right, have to be controlled. All right. This has to do with a lot more when you start talking about economics of the world. So we're going to have an impact on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So this may be a great time to buy assets on the stock market. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to be buying some oil? Any gold and silver? I mean, think about it. Is America going to be dragged into a war? So far, I don't see how, but you know, Iran and Israel is going to deal with it. You know what I find very fascinating is, I've said this before. I never understood why the Arab nations who have all this oil money and could easily weaponize themselves, I never understood why they didn't roll over to Palestine's defense and be like, okay, this is over. All right, this is over. USA, yeah, you got their back. And yes, we buy weapons from you, but we're buying weapons from you. USA sells weapons to like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and all, whoever I mean, hell, USA would probably sell to Russia if it wasn't exempt. I mean, sheesh. So Arab nations can get weapons. Not the weapons that Israel has, though. But all I'm saying is, if I can knock down buildings, take out planes, defend myself, those weapons are good enough. So I never understood why the Arabs never actually worked together. And again, I haven't studied the Arab situation at all. But I never understood this, because it would have made more sense if the Arab nations would have all been like, you know what? Hey, America, you get no more oil. F you. And, and then they all band together and be like, all right, you can come over here for the war, but we here for it. We here for it. And by the way, we're friends with Russia too. We're here for it. So, I mean, I never understood that. But again, that's because of human nature. Countries want to control other people, and then they want to control other countries. Where I'm sitting there like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like, why are you guys just sitting there like crazy? All right, let's see what we got. Michael Anthony, he says, CNN saying operation is over, but warn Iran they better do anything else. Okay. Tamara Larry, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Thank you so much for being here. And All Truth, thank you so much, Tamara. A lot of people don't understand history. And here's the thing. History from other countries, and even here in America, American history is skewed. Everybody, I just want to say one thing. If you can get to the EU zone, and you can go to Spain, France, UK, Italy, and you can actually see things from 1400 translated from these explorers that came here to America and who lived as America was growing, they see America a different way, because they're actually reporting what really they saw. They're not getting the books that we have here, this Made for History USA books for its citizens. They don't have that. They have the ones that said, hey, we got off in this island in the Caribbean. There was these natives and they started dying. In fact, they had gold on that island. We killed them. And we took it and we brought it back to the crown. Meanwhile, in America, we think there might be something there worth taking as well and bringing back for the crown. I mean, they start explaining everything because there's no law that's stopping them. It's not like it's a bad thing. They're conquerors. So they write the real history. This is what was happening in America. We saw some boats land with some slaves from Africa. We saw some other boats that left with some slaves in it, said they were going to South America. I mean, this is what their books are actually telling the real history. And then when you come back to America and you start reading history books, you're just like, what is this? What is this stuff? That's why I say everybody should leave the United States, go to the EU zone, go to Africa too, which I haven't went to Africa, because the only thing in Africa that I've ever wanted to see was the pyramids. I know. One of the wonders of the world. And that's one thing, that's the last thing on my list. I've done everything except I never went to the pyramids. I wish I had. I can still go. So I'm probably going to go in the next 2 years. It's just that now, is it going to be safe? I don't know. My friend went there like 6 months ago, and he said it was awesome. He said he stayed in Cairo. And he said the pyramid thing was cool. They got people that, try to get you the camels, try to get you the tour guide, tries to come in, tries to take you. You got to be careful, he said. But it is what it is. Can't keep tearing down countries and think everything's going to be fine. So Is it going to be a great week for people to buy on the stock market after a dip arrives? We'll see. Because like Anthony says, he says they warned Iran. It was a warning. And Iran has drones. So we'll see. But will it be over by Monday? I mean, if it's already over and nothing happens in the next 48 hours, what will the markets actually do here in America? I still think the markets are actually going to be like oil's probably going to drop. Dollar's going to increase. And I suspect some auxiliary stocks will probably make it drop, but I don't know what happens after Monday and Tuesday rolls around. So there could be a buying opportunity for people there. And in fact, these real estate investment trusts, if they drop any further, oh my God, ORC, I'll give you another one, PSEC. ORC is 18.2% right now. That's a real estate investment trust. AGNC, thankfully you guys are still here with me after my little rant, is 14.5% right now. Any money you put in to buy these things, you could be earning that for life. Not meaning you rebuy, your dividends is reinvested, so you're rebuying more shares. But if you add more shares and the price goes down, then good, your dollar cost average is coming down, so now your yield goes up. But if the price goes up and you buy at a higher price, that means your yield value goes down. So just so you remember that, all right? So I gave you ORC, PSEC, and AGNC for the stocks, ticker stocks, all right? So hopefully you guys hear that. No matter where you're hearing this from the sound of my voice, make sure you subscribe, follow, share the videos. I had to go off on the rant a little bit about Israel because of the way it was formed, and we're only talking about 70, a little over, no, about 75 years ago. So again, there's people who are still alive from the original invasion or stolen land. So, and then their kids hear the stories. And then you have, over the last 50, 60 years, them killing fields. So those stories actually ring true. And now you have people who are upset. So it makes sense. Now, Iran doing what they're doing, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But stock market wise, could be a buying opportunity on this week coming up. Study, see what's happened in the past. You can find out from history books because there's a lot of conflict between Israel, Palestine, Iran, or the Middle East, or North Africa. Let's call it what it is in reality, North Africa. So just keep in mind, you have history when there have been attacks on a Friday going on in the era between Iran and Iraq, Syria, Israel. I mean, this has happened plenty of times over the last 10, 20 years where something happened on a Friday. So you can actually study and go find out, hey, how many times has this happened on a Friday between Israel and some other country? What happened in the stock market the next few days? That might give you a little insight, a little playbook that you might be able to use to your advantage if you start seeing like every time, if it's 90% of the time, or if it's just different things are happening. But if there's a pattern of 90% of the time this happens, that wouldn't be such a bad bet, so to speak, because that's like gambling numbers, right? So anyhow, I'm going to wrap this up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't want to get off into this tangent, but Michael Anthony, he brought up the Israel thing. And I just like, when you're a minority in a country and your own country, like America, is taking advantage, it's hard for you to have empathy for a country that stole land, just like how America was formed, and then kill the people that you stole the land from, which is like what happened in America. And I'm like, it's the same thing. And we're not thousands of years old. We're just like them. We're just like the Palestinians in Israel, 70 some years. And in America, we're 200 to 400 years of terror. So that is the problem that I have. So you can't get empathy from me. All right. It's not happening. Sorry. Like I said, there's some things that irritate me because people just wash it off the way, right? They go, oh, nothing's happening. Well, see, that's because when you grew up, nothing's happening. When I grew up, something's happening. My parents, grandparents, some dudes coming with hoods in the neighborhood, trying to do a parade on the black side of town, because I don't know if people here realize there still is to this day black side of town, white side of town in a lot of these USA states. The white dudes with hoods, for whatever reason, one day get in their cars, coming down the main street on the black side of town, trying to do intimidation. I hear stories about this. I'm like, what do you mean? And then they're like, oh, yeah, you know, they blew up the church and put a bomb at the church. I'm like, what? What are you talking about as a kid? You're listening to these stories and you're like, wait a minute. What are they talking about? What are they saying? And so history books being altered, take out domestic terrorism, take out all the murder and mayhem, and act like, oh, we're normal, we're good. What's the problem? Oh, I don't know. We don't know why you guys have a problem. And then you don't know why somebody else has a problem with you. You just showed up. You're like, I just showed up. What did I do? Oh, wait, you're a descendant from them, so you're a problem. I'm like, you're the problem. You're the one trying to cause me harm. I'm not over at your spot. What are you talking about? See, that's the problem I have. This apartheid system where the oppressor is acting like they're the victim. That's crazy. All right, black guy in America, black guy born outside of America, black guy who's visited a lot of countries in the world, gets treated differently depending on what country you're in. But you want to know what's funny? I'm going to tell you guys another story. Great show, like always. Thank you, Brian P. I'm going to give you guys another story. Victor Marrero, right now, I believe he's over in Puerto Rico. It was the best thing that ever happened to me when my parents were in Puerto Rico. Because right then and there was a difference. We rolled out to Puerto Rico. I'm thinking, I see black people. It's mixed. Any color of the rainbow, from white to black, a person is Puerto Rican. But I didn't know that because I lived in America. So I'm thinking like Americans. Okay, I see a white person. Okay, I see a black person. Okay, I see a Latin person. Okay, right? My perceived notion. I get up to, we're at San Juan. This lady was so dark. And I started talking to her in English. She looks at me. She's selling something. She looks at me and she says, just looks at me. And I said, hey, excuse me, did you hear what I said? I was asking you, how much is this thing right here? And she just looks at me. So then I start getting like, hey, don't you hear me? And then finally my dad grabs me and says, hey, she probably speaks Spanish. We're not in America. I'm like, I thought this was USA territory. My mind, I'm doing American stuff, colors. So I'm thinking, what the heck? What's going on? Longer you live there, the more you find out. Don't even say at the time that any person on the island, no matter what shade of color they are, do not say they're USA citizen. Because if you're at a party and you go, oh, hey, USA, these guys are like, what? They're ready to fight. They're like, we Puerto Rican. What's wrong with you? I'm like, hold up. I thought this was USA territory. They're like, man, this ain't no USA territory. This is Puerto Rico. You better hold your tongue about that. Literally, people got upset. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because then it was like They had their own little cultures, own little way of doing things. Didn't even care about if it's USA territory. They didn't even look at themselves as USA territory. And I'm going to tell you what happened. Everybody was getting along. There was none of this color barriers, this side of town, that all that BS. Everybody's partying at the beach. Everybody's partying with the pavilion. Everybody's invited. Everybody's has the food at the house. Come on down. There's none of this BS. Okay, great. I come back to the United States. We land at an airport in the US of A after years being in Puerto Rico. As soon as I get off the airport, we come off out of the airplane, walking down in the airport. The first time I heard the N-word in years. I was like, what the? Are we serious, right? I was like less than a few minutes from getting off of the plane back inside the United States. I'd never even heard the N-word while I was in Puerto Rico. Why would I? Every color counts. From white to black is all Puerto Rican. They didn't look at themselves like, oh, yeah, because you're white, because you're black, because you're brown, because you're yellow, we got something against you. None of that happened. So that was the best thing that ever happened. That's story night for you guys, just so you know. So when we come back to America, now I realize this is a racist situation. These guys over here trying to harm me for real. And so therefore, everything you look at differently when you actually come from a free country, so to speak, which is the USA, Puerto Rico, free, because everybody gets along pretty much. It's like, there's always beefs with somebody, but all I'm saying is the neighborhoods you go, it was cool. There was no problems. And especially if you could speak a little Spanish. And at the time, the longer you stayed there, the more I could speak Spanish, right? So that was cool. And so now it's like you are Puerto Rican, so to speak. And so it changes your whole perspective when you come back to a country and you're hearing racial slurs that you haven't heard for like 3 years. And you're like, what? And then you have other situations, police stops, signs in hotels saying vacancy. But then when you roll up, they're going, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have no vacancies. And you're like, what the heck? All this is like, you're absorbing. You're like, I didn't have none of this problem before outside of the USA. I come back and I got problems. Our family has problems. So this is why when we have conflicts in the Middle East, and some people will say, rah, rah, Israel. I'm sitting there going, but you don't understand. How did Israel happen? There's still people alive. They have stories. And Israel has done nobody any favors by occupying another country where they were guests. And they act like no big deal that they can kill 20, 30, 50, 60,000 people. They have no problem with telling the guys, hey, you got to walk on the other side, like it's Jim Crow 2.0. Hey, don't look at me. What you doing looking at me? Get off the sidewalk. In fact, you know what? The military's here. I'm hungry. Why don't you fix us something? In fact, we're going to go stay in your basement for 3-4 weeks. Is that all right? Like, what are they going to say? No. It's an occupation. And America sends stuff over acting like, oh, no, it's all good. Palestinians stay over in their section of town. Yeah, Israel has nothing to do with them. Right. That's why they have gates that they make the Palestinians go through. See, this is the stuff that people don't realize. El Monte, if he's still here, he sounds like he's been there before or knows something about it. You guys don't understand. This is not like USA. It's not even close. It's not even Jim Crow, where black people are on one side of town or minorities are on one side of town and white people on the other side of town. Canals, railroad tracks, whatever. It ain't that. It ain't that. What this is like is, imagine if the black side of town and the white side of town The black side of town had a fence around it. And the guys on the white side of town can come to your side of town anytime they feel like it, but block you off from going to their side of town. And then if you go to their side of town, they're going to be like hitting you, beating you, whatever. And then when they come to your side of town, they're like, why are you looking at me? In fact, we're staying at your house. What do you mean you're staying at my house? We got the weaponry. We're the army. We're staying at your house. And by the way, go fix us some food. Yeah, you're going to think that's real funny out there, aren't you? See, this is where I got a problem. They're not going to tell people about this, but that's what happens in Palestine. All right. So when somebody goes, why did they come and do this, get these people and do that? Because this is what they're subject to every day. So get some empathy and go study and then get back to me next time this comes up, because there will be a next time, because they're going to kill another 10,000 to 20,000 people. And I'm talking about Israel is going to be taking out more people in Palestinian Gaza Strip. This ain't going to be the end of it. They have another agenda. Like King Leopold, the guy that slaughtered so many Africans that nobody even talks about, but yet it's more than the Nazi Hitler. All right? Yeah, they don't talk about that. All it is Hitler, Hitler, Hitler. Yeah, because it was Jews, mostly white people. But all the black people, Africans, Hitler ain't got shit on Leopold. Leopold by the millions. Slaughtered. You see that in your history books in America? Okay, don't even let me get started. I just get pissed when I start thinking about this stuff. All right? I just get pissed. Which companies you might buy a pullback. Which look at CNC, then SKX, since they beat on Thursday and was up after hours and one to watch for Monday. I don't really know, because I don't go based on any war situations. All I know is I'll probably be looking at oil stocks for sure. ETF, oil ETFs, oil stocks, that's for sure. CNC, that could be a good one too. And you'll have plenty of time. You're gonna have plenty of time. It's gonna be an all-day thing, because I'm pretty sure there probably is gonna be some sort of retaliation. I think there's gonna be a conflict, quite frankly, at this point, because they have drones now. So they don't actually have to go do no hand-to-hand like between Iran and Iraq. This is drone strikes. And I think that's what they're going to do. Iran's going to do. Yeah, they have checkpoints. Exactly, El Monte. But El Monte, the checkpoints is one thing. Rolling into Gaza, into Palestine, bringing 3 or 4 of your armed, 5 of your armed buddies, and going to people's homes and going, hey, we need a place to stay for a week. I mean, that's on a whole nother level. The oppressor's like, bang, 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 hey, man, we need a place to stay. You got any food here? That is a whole nother level, man. Whole nother level. I was in Hebron, and the Palestinians had to put up a mess roof over the market because the Jews would throw trash down into the market. Exactly. That too. Despite all of that, the Palestinians treated me very good. El Monte, hey, you know what it's like? It's like anywhere else. If you treat somebody with respect and dignity, then they're going to actually look at you a different way, even though you could be the same as somebody else. You're one of the good ones, the good guys. You ain't trying to oppress me. You're not trying to hurt me. Meanwhile, the guys that are trying to hurt me, we know who they are. But yeah, this is what I'm saying, man. People don't understand what is actually going on, because the United States news does not report like what a Syrian, Iranian, or any other country in the North African area that would report it. USA puts it from a USA perspective. That's why they'll say, oh, Palestine did this, Iran did this, and then they minimize what Israel's been doing the whole time. I'm just like, oh, hey, El Monte, did you see past the gates though? What I'm saying is, were you in Palestine? Did you go into Palestine like 2 miles, 3 miles and hang out? Because then you're going to see other stuff, right? Forget about the stuff thrown down. Did you see the guys weren't just at the checkpoints. The Israel army, militia, whatever you want to call them, they're not just at the checkpoints. They're actually in Gaza. They're actually more like a force. And of course, there's I just want to say Jews, but there's Jews in Gaza. But again, it's like Jim Crow situation. They feel they can do, throw garbage. You're walking down sidewalk. If you're Palestinian, you better move over, kind of stuff, off the sidewalk stuff. I mean, all kind of crazy, just like it's Jim Crow, right? So, it's pretty wild, and this is what people don't understand. And I always give the stories of. I always say this about how Palestine and Israel is. It's like if you lived in, I'll use a populous state like Florida. Somebody might be from Florida now, and all of a sudden, Florida says, "Hey, we'll accept some refugees," and then a year or two later, Africa. I'll use Uganda since we talked about it. Uganda, Italy, and UK, and they get to the United Nations and they say, "Hey, man, we're gonna give X amount of land in Florida to these guys, these refugees, and we're going to give them armament because we know the people are going to be pissed in Florida that we took land and gave it to them." That's what it's like. So all these people that live, like, let's just say they gave them North Florida, right? Like from the Georgia line down to and including Orlando, right? All those people, you got to move, get out. You have to live below Orlando, Osceola County, and below. Get out. And oh, by the way, we got gates, we got walls, we got checkpoints, we got all of that. Don't even think about coming back. I don't think Floridians would be very happy. And oh, by the way, after 70 years of all this mistreatment, after 70 years, you guys decide to come across and, take some hostages for all the mistreatment every week, every year. And then the unthinkable. The guys who took over North Florida, they have weapons. They wipe out about 40,000 people. Hospitals, schools, apartment buildings where people live. No humanitarian aid, nothing. Running water. Who cares? All right. Enough. Oh my God. People have no idea what world we live in. Yes, I was detained in Tel Aviv. Yep. Then I went to Jerusalem and the West Bank, but I didn't go into Gaza at that time. Hey, good. Hey, that's pretty wise of you. Pretty wise of you. But yeah. But anyhow, El Monte, you got to see what life's like. It's not like what's on TV, where they basically are saying, "Hey, this is what's happening." They talk to a few people, but they're not on the other side. And I wouldn't be either, because on the other side, you could be sitting in an apartment and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's blowing up. You're dead. So I can't blame anybody for not wanting to be on the other side, on the Palestinian side, taking notes. I mean, we got a few brave people, but man, you're taking a risk seeing how they're not really caring about military targets. Hell, 40,000 people dead. You would think they would have killed the damn near 100% of Hamas. Jesus, who were hiding in allegedly hospitals, schools, and apartments. I mean, good grief. I just want to know where Hamas keeps its weapons. That's the thing I want to know. I'm like, how do you have an army that doesn't have weapons? So they have to be where weapons are, right? I mean, this is kind of far-fetched warfare. I mean, like, what? I mean, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. All I'm going to say is, and then I'll leave this alone, common sense. Everybody knows in the United States, schools, right? So, and hospitals, apartment buildings. If you're a military force, where are you hiding your military weaponry and vehicles? In a hospital, a school, or apartment building? I mean, where? So you're expecting me to believe a fighting force is sitting in these locations? Where are their vehicles? Where's the drones? Where's their bombs? What are we talking about here? I mean, this sounds more like a little militia type situation if they can hide them in these locations without having any weaponry. And if they're able to hide in those locations and I can't see weaponry, are you serious right now? I mean, it ain't like you can have, if I need to hit Israel, I have to have some weaponry. And the weaponry can't be in the basement. It can't be sitting on my balcony in an apartment complex. It could be on a roof. But now, how did we get it on the roof if we don't even have any damn elevators? And even if we did have elevators, how did we get it on the roof? I mean, think about it. I don't think it's going to be very hard to spot some military personnel in a residential neighborhood. Are you serious right now? All right, enough. All right. Agents there. Right. At checkpoints, sometimes they make you get out of the vehicle. That's correct. And question you and search the vehicle. But it signs up warning Jews about coming into the Palestinian area. But there are undercover agents there. Yeah. There always is. But again, all I'm going to say is just think about ordinary stuff at your hospital, at your anywhere, in a residential environment, a place that's not a military base. Where are you keeping all of the vehicles? Where are you keeping your weapons? I mean, it's almost like the Wild Wild West. I mean, what are we talking about here? And so those people are going to be a big time threat because they're shooting some rockets at us. Yeah, it's a threat, but you could have actually made an agreement and said, hey, man, we'll leave you guys alone and we'll make it a two-state solution. So we recognize, so that way we give you your dignity and your civil rights and all that. And so, we'll be friendly neighbors. We got our land. You got yours. Sayonara. Have a nice life. And we're backed by the United States and the allies. So if you actually did do something, we can always just pummel you. We can kill 50,000 people. And nobody's going to flinch. I mean, this is crazy. All right. It just annoys me with this. Especially when, again, we know for a fact the weaponry of the Israel military and Palestine doesn't even have anything. If you call Hamas a military situation, that's a joke. Iran barely has anything themselves. That's a joke, but okay. Iran actually one of the Arab, well, I don't even know, they're not Arab, but one of those countries, they decided to say, hey man, enough's enough. You killed enough people. So I expected that. I've been asking why nobody's ever done anything for a while, even though it's a detriment. But it's got to stop. And Netanyahu has no interest in stopping. Because if you have a plan where you want some beachfront property, you ain't stopping, right? You might stop about now, but you weren't going to stop 2 months ago. All right. So they can move, get more territory. And since they tearing everything down, hey, you don't have to do much. Clean it up. Get rid of the dead bodies. All right. Enough of this. I was only going to be here an hour, but I get a little bit when we start talking about oppressors and acting like they're victims after they've been oppressors for 70 plus years. And you killed family members. I just have a hard time with that scenario. All right. So with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And now I have Blad Photographer. I see you. Thank you so much. Remadar Can, thank you so much for being in the house on the Instagram channel. Make sure you follow. We're trying to get over 920 to see if we can go from 920 and up for followers because Instagram keeps taking people away. I can't believe it. I mean, I can. I've been watching it for the last 5 years, quite frankly. Been at 914 to 920 for the last 3 years. And that's why it's so funny. And so now I'm just making everybody aware because somebody told me something last week. When I told them, you think the internet is free? You don't think it's being manipulated? He's like, the internet's all open. It's free. I was like, oh, I got story for you. I said, I'm going to tell you right now. I'll show you something on Instagram. I don't have to show you anything on YouTube already because you can figure it out for yourself. But I said, I'll show you something on Instagram. So that's why I've been watching Instagram and showing it for the last 2 weeks. And sure enough, everybody has noticed it stayed within 920 to 914. For some reason, it won't go up. But nonetheless, I'm trying to get us over the hump. So make sure you guys sign up and follow at Instagram. We are Stop Struggling Now at Instagram. So you don't have to go down below to get the link. It's Stop Struggling Now at Instagram. At X, can't have Stop Struggling Now for some strange reason. So have Struggling Now. All these ones, man, it's crazy. For some, nobody has Stop Struggling Now, right? But I can't have it either. It's wild. But anyhow, that's a whole nother story, a whole nother day. With all that said, you guys know I love you guys very much. I appreciate your support over all these years. And I just want to thank you. And thank you for being here and the conversations we've had. And on Monday, don't forget, Matthew Lesko is supposed to be with us on the Monday night live stream. He does grants. That's right. No money up front. You get grants, legitimate. I'm hoping he's going to give us some info out here. I have findhelp.org. That is some grant information that he might even show, then. And I'll put it in the chat room once again for people who have showed up late. If you're thinking grants, go look at that. That's something that he talks about. So you kind of can get an idea. And depending on what state you're in or city that you're in, zip code you're in, it'll go by zip codes. So you can find out what grants are available for education, for housing, for even healthcare, for all kind of things that you would not even think that you can get help with, but you can get grants. It's amazing. So he's going to be here on Monday at 8:50 p.m. So you definitely don't want to miss it. You can already sign up. I put it in queue for that live stream on Monday. So you can, I think you can already hit the remind me button. so you can be here. I'll let you know if things change, because he wanted to do it tomorrow. But I said, you know what? Saturdays is generally not a good time, so to speak. Can we do it 8:50 p.m. during our normal money making Monday live stream? It goes along money making with no cost to you, unless you want to join him for $20 and he'll help you himself. I think that's how much he charges. He's not like these other people out here that charge you $1,000 or $500 or join my monthly club thing. No, he only does these little things. I think he has something for $6, and I think he'll do something for you for 20. It's real low. He's not trying to, he's trying to help people. That's why I said, okay, let's do this, because this is part of the SSN Nation. We try to help people out here. Rising tide lifts all boats. So I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're trying to do here. And with all that said, make sure you stay safe out here. Make sure you, try to keep a level head. A lot of people under stress and duress, because a lot of people financially is under stress and duress, and family wise. I mean, a lot of pressure is on people that seemingly may have it all together, but you never know, because you don't know their finances. Like, I'll give you another little short synopsis. The granddaughter bought a new home, but they lived in another house that previously and they owned, and they had somebody that signed the contracts, put it in escrow. So they started looking for another house. So now they find it's a one-of-a-kind house. This other house is in escrow. So they buy this other property. Another month goes by. All of a sudden, the persons can't buy it. Now it's been 2 to 3 months that they cannot get another buyer. They dropped the price another time. They dropped the price like twice. No takers. They pay $3,000 a month for that house to sit there. So now a new kid comes, new baby, great grandchild, not from my daughters, right? My wife, okay? Great grandchild. So now, because of our laws, even California has leave. But you know what the union did? The union voted out where newborn parents do not get sick leave or maternity leave. So she had to use her vacation. She actually now has to go back to work and has to now figure out how the new baby plus a 2-year-old can be taken care of if she goes to work. So this has presented a stressful situation. And because of that house didn't sell and it's on the market, they have to pay $3,000 a month. That's putting financial pressure on the situation. So you never know, something simple as that. And oh, by the way, there is a candidate that we have that wants the 6 months maternity leave. Just reminding you of that. I'm just saying, because of these situations. I won't get into that. We're going to wrap it up. So let me see if there's anything somebody else has to say. Michael Anthony, I step away to listen to CNN, which say operations are over if Iran does nothing. Michael Anthony, what's the odds of Iran doing nothing? I mean, what do you think? Anybody else want to make a comment? Do you think Iran's just going to be like, okay, forget about it when they have drones? See, I'm just going to, I can't, from a strategic standpoint, all I'm going to say is this. Okay, you attack me, I'm Iran. Okay, I get it. I sent rockets over to you, right? I get it. Israel does what they got to do. But from a arbitrage situation, at some point, somebody's going to go, hey, man, you just wiped out 50,000 people. You murdered and maimed 50,000 people. So why is it that I'm going to listen to any damn thing you say? And why don't we just get this damn crap over with? I mean, that's like, because now you're taking out my military section. So if I'm Iran, I'd be calling up hey, Syria, man, come on, we gotta work this out. I mean, I'd be calling up everybody. Hey, man, Yemen, Saudi Arabia. Hey, man, get Putin on the phone too, man. We gotta talk. We gotta talk. This shit's gone on long enough. That's what I'd be doing. And then all of them could be like, F you, we don't want no part of it. You know who these guys are? That's probably what's going to happen. You know who these guys are? We don't want no part of that. Then Iran's going to be like, all right, we had enough. But who knows what's going to happen? And if Iran does nothing, I can't see Iran doing nothing. Just from their history. They're antagonist. And for whatever reason, they don't mind playing the martyrs either. Remember, those virgins, when I die, that's a powerful situation in a religious cult. All right. All I can say is it's going to be a very interesting Monday. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.